This episode of the Gamerheads Podcast is brought to you by Seven Bridges Premium Gourmet Yum Yum Sauce. Enhance every bite with our savory blends of flavors, perfect for meats, vegetables, and crispy treats. Whether you're dipping, drizzling, marinating, grilling, roasting, or snacking, Seven Bridges Yum Yum Sauce takes your culinary experience to the next level. Get yours today and make every meal a gourmet delight.
Hi, I'm Celia Schilling from Yacht Club Games.
Hey, this is James from Megacat Studios.
Hey folks, this is Matt, aka Stormageddon from Reignite and the Fun and Games podcast.
This is Stephanie from the Boss Rush podcast and the Boss Rush Network.
Hey, this is Mark and Keon from Bonte Avond.
Hey, this is Sebastian with the ProNerdReport.com and the Single Player Experience podcast.
Hi, this is Chris.
Mike.
And Garrett from Daylight Basement Studio.
Hey, this is Baron J67 from Level 1 Gaming.
Hi, I'm Jacob McCourt from the Left Behind Game Club, Crossplay Conversations, and Video Game Trivia.
Hey, this is Todd Mitchell from Code Right Play.
Salutations, this is Mike Carroll from Stroll Art.
Hey, this is Jeff Moonen from Fun and Games Podcast.
What's good, y'all? This is Adam from Respawn Aimfire.
Hey, this is Patrick from the Backlog Odyssey.
Hey, this is Rune from Runic Codes.
Hi, this is Andrew from Spalato Bros.
Hi, everyone. Jill Grote here from the Indie Informer.
Hello, this is the Crypt Master, and you're listening to Roger you're listening to Roger on the Gamerheads Podcast.
And welcome to another episode of the Gamerheads Podcast. My name is Roger. This week, I have a very special guest. I have a returning guest. I have Lee Williams, a writer, teacher, voice actor, and games developer. Lee, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and coming back on the show. I was so excited to have you back on the show.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, I enjoyed our chat that we had, and I thought it would be really fun to have you on to do kind of a holiday special.
Yeah, fantastic. I've never done a holiday special before. I don't know what's expected of me on a holiday special, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. So I thought we could talk about, the games that defined us, and then the games of that we liked this year and the games we're looking forward to next year. So I have kind of like a Christmas Carol type thing going on there. But before we get into that, to kind of get us into the mood for the holidays, I was curious to know, do you have a holiday tradition that's a little different or unique that you celebrate?
Yeah, well, mostly we do, I think, the normal things, or the normal things over here in the UK, I think are pretty similar generally to what you would do in the States. So we have a big Christmas dinner on Christmas Day, presents and so on. But the one thing that we do that I haven't met anybody else that does is a little sort of family tradition. Is when we were little, my mum would always read The Night Before Christmas, the poem, to us on Christmas Eve. We'd tuck into bed and she would read the poem, and then when she got to the end of the poem, she would say, "Oh, listen," and we would listen, and outside the window there'd be little ding ding ding, little bell noises. She said, "Oh, it's Father Christmas coming! You've got to get to sleep straight away." And of course, it was my. I hope I won't make any listeners distraught if I reveal that it was my father in the garden with a little bell, with a bell, ringing a bell at the end of the story. But that was our little sort of family tradition, and we've kept it up, but we've resurrected it recently since I've had kids, and we do that with them as well. We still go around. My parents, they're in their 80s now, but we still go around their place on Christmas Eve, and my mum reads the story to the boys. But the younger generation, I think they're a bit more. When they hear the bell now, they say, "Oh, it's Grandad. It's just Grandad in the garden." And I have to say no. I have to say, Granddad's in his 80s. Do you think I'm going to make him go stand outside in the cold and ring a bell for you? But of course I do.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then here he is ringing the bell like, I can't believe I'm still doing this.
Exactly, yeah. He does say that every year. He says, "I cannot believe you still make me do this." But yeah, that's like our little tradition. Do you have any unique tradition?
Well, I do. They're not as sweet as that. Like, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you my tradition now. So So I didn't think this was weird growing up because everybody in my area that I grew up, I grew up in a very German area of
Right.
Wisconsin. Okay, so and at holiday you would have you would have raw beef. We would eat raw beef sandwiches. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I didn't think that was weird because everybody that, I knew in that area, you'd go to like holiday parties. There'd be a plate of raw beef, and you just take the raw beef, you put it on a piece of rye bread, take some onion, take some salt and pepper, and that's what you eat. You eat raw beef sandwiches. And and until like I married my wife, and she came over for, well, it was before we got married, but she came over for holiday. And she's like, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's raw beef. You don't eat raw beef?" She said, "No, nobody eats raw beaf. That's not healthy."
At Christmas. No. Is that do they do that in Germany as well? Still, maybe, I don't know.
Well, so it's actually it comes from like a Mongolian, like it's like actually a Mongolian type thing, and then
right,
Eastern Europe like took on this tradition. It's like steak tartare, like they call it steak tartare.
Yeah, I was going because I remember reading once they used to put it under their saddles.
Yes.
Didn't they? Mongolian
Yes.
riders.
Yes.
And it would tenderize it as they rode,
Yes.
and then they could take it out like jerky, I guess, and eat it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and it's funny, every year at this time of year, there's always the FDA always puts a warning out: do not eat raw beef, especially from Wisconsin. Please don't do it.
Just in
You
they target your area of Wisconsin.
Exactly.
Like a leaflet drop.
Exactly. But the thing is, like, I'm almost 50. I've eaten it since I can remember, and I'm still fine. And and every year I always tell myself, this might be the year that you might get sick from eating it. But then it's there, and I'm like, well,
I bet it's quite nice. I bet it's quite. I would go for that.
Oh, you would? You would?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I
Okay.
like a rare steak. I would go for a bit of raw beef, I think.
I mean, this is really rare. And also, I'm about to say, it is, it has to come from a certain part of the cow. It can't come, like, it has
It's
to
not just
come-
any old beef. Yeah.
No. You can't just go to the grocery store and buy, like, like just generic, like, raw beef. Like, you have to get special raw beef for this, right? Because otherwise you can get really sick, even from the,
Yeah. You'd have to be careful. Yeah.
You have to be careful. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a weird tradition. I know it's weird. I know that a lot of people are like, "That's really disgusting," but that's what we do. That's
Yeah,
what we do.
that's yeah.
I have a question for you. I'm curious because talking about the Christmas Carol or Christmas Carol, I'm reminded of that scene where you have Scrooge opening up the window at the morning he wakes up, and he looks down and he's like, "You there? What day is it?" And there's this little boy, he looks up, he's like, "It's Christmas morning, sir." And he's like, "Oh, go get it. Go down to the butcher and get me the largest goose you can find." Do you eat goose on Christmas?
Well, traditionally it was always goose.
Oh, okay.
Nowadays it's turkey. It's almost always
it
turkey
is.
nowadays.
Okay.
Do you have turkey? Because I know you have turkey obviously on Thanksgiving. Do you have turkey on Christmas as well?
Sometimes.
What do you have on
Sometimes we
Christmas?
do.
Yeah.
We eat raw beef instead.
Just raw beef. Just a big slab of raw beef. Fair enough. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we
I think
do
over here
sometimes.
it was traditionally always goose.
Okay.
But nowadays it's turkey. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to the goose supply, or I don't know. But yeah.
Well, I mean, it was just curious. And then the second question with that, like, do they just not be taught not to talk to strangers? Because this little boy looks up and he's like, "It's Christmas morning, Mr. Scrooge, or sir." He doesn't know who this guy is. Like, that always bothered me about
No,
that.
I don't. I don't know. I think I would probably say to my kids, "Don't." If somebody yells at you from a window and get something for them from the shop, don't. I mean, you could take the money, but take the money and run.
Run and don't come back. Don't buy the goose. Don't go
Don't
back.
buy the goose and go back with the goose. Just take the money and run. I'd say. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it was like in Dickensian London. I guess you've got a lot of
Different
urchins with
times.
time on their hands, and yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was kind of I thought that would be a kind of fun icebreaker to.
Yes, no, that's cool. I'm always interested to hear about like different traditions and Christmas traditions. And when you meet somebody from somewhere else, like you said with the beef, and a lot of the time you just don't realise, people don't realise that what they're doing is odd, or nobody else does it. You know, it's like there's lots of countries that don't celebrate Christmas on the 25th, for example, like within Europe, that I didn't realise until quite late in life. I just assumed everybody was celebrating on the same day, but no, other people get to, have presents on different days. And
yeah. No, it's interesting too. Like even just like family traditions, like our family growing up would always open up our gifts on Christmas Eve. And my wife's family always opened up on Christmas Day. So like that's always been a contention with like even us, like, we should really open them on Christmas. Like I'm all in favor of opening them Christmas Eve, and my wife is like, no, Christmas Day is when we open up gifts, So it's kind of fun. And then the other thing I will say, and that, like, again, if you have young kids, might want to stop listening, but like I actually don't like the idea of, like, this is gonna sound Scroogey of me, but I don't like the idea of Santa Claus, because growing up, I had a kid that I knew that he was kind of a naughty kid, and he got really awesome gifts, and I didn't. Like, my parents were very poor, right? And he got these amazing gifts, and I always thought to myself, does Santa got his list wrong here? Like, I don't understand.
Right.
Like, how does this kid get these amazing gifts? So, so we actually have a tradition that we have one gift that's from Santa, and it's not like a big flashy thing, right? It's something that's kind of smaller, and then we get credit for the rest of the gifts because.
Right, that's quite nice. And I'd never thought of that before. That you were a more thoughtful kid than I was, I think, because I never thought of that. But that's interesting, because I knew kids like that.
Like I knew this kid who got a Game Boy for Christmas, and he was a bully in school, and I was like, and I got chocolates and candies and no Game Boy, and I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. My system of justice was all thrown off. It didn't make much sense to me. So
that's a very good point. I remember sometimes at Christmas, if I was naughty, I remember there was a big present under the tree, and I knew it was an AT-AT. And it was all I wanted for Christmas was an AT-AT. And I must have been really naughty one day, and it disappeared. I turned back and it had gone. Father Christmas had taken the AT-AT back.
No.
Until I behaved again, and then it reappeared under the tree. And I remember that wasn't a traumatic memory for me. That's a lovely memory, because I was in awe of the sense of magic, that I was more impressed by anything else than the fact that he had that power. He's been here. He came in suddenly and took the AT-AT. So it didn't feel like a punishment as much as it felt like something magical. But I distinctly remember that, and then it did come back later when I was behaving again.
Wow. What, did it come back after Christmas then? Like, were all the Christmas? No, before.
No, because we would put the presents would be under the tree before Christmas, so everybody's present would be under the tree already, you see. And then we would get a couple more dropped in the stocking for Christmas morning. But some presents, one present would be under the tree already before Christmas. Again, it's just that probably nobody else did that. It was our family. We used to have one under the tree, and then we get the other ones would get dropped in a stocking on Christmas Eve night.
So Santa came to your house more than once, like you would.
He was a regular. He was a regular visitor. He was a real busybody. He would come in whenever I needed to be disciplined. Santa would be there. Yeah.
It'd be really great if Santa took your toys after you opened them and said, "Nah, you don't get this anymore."
He just took them back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do. We've had this discussion with our kids, and my two oldest know, like they know now, but my youngest still doesn't. But my middle child would often say to me, why can't I get a Nintendo Switch, or why can't I get a PlayStation? Like, I don't understand. Like, Santa just makes that in his workshop, and like, that's the part that I struggled with, right? And that's why we made it can't be a big extravagant gift for Santa, right? It has to be something that looks like it's like handmade, right? Like a doll or something made out of wood or something like that, just because, otherwise, yeah, why can't Santa just make me a PlayStation? It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah. They're mass producing them anyway.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, no, that's a good. I like that. That's a good way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. Well, sticking with the tradition of A Christmas Carol, I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about our games of Ghost of Christmas Past, Ghost of Christmas Present, and Ghost of Christmas Future. So in that category, starting with Ghost of Christmas Past, I would like to talk about what were your top 3 games that made the greatest impact on you through growing up.
Well, I've been thinking about this one a lot. I've got endless games titles that I wrote down that I could have gone for. But I've chosen 3 from 3 different sort of stages in my life, I guess, that influenced me a lot at the time. They're not necessarily the games that I like the most or think are the best games, but the ones that really influenced me. So shall I start with one?
Yeah. We'll go. Should we go back and forth? We'll give one game and then we'll go back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the first one I chose was one I remember from when I was very young. We had a home computer quite early. We had a BBC B, which was a very early home computer. It's a lovely thing with big chunky keys, because my mum was a teacher, and so she had got one from school to test for the school. And we had we had a BBC B for a while, and I remember one of the first games. I loved it. I played all sorts of early games on that, but the games that I played on it were lots of very early kind of platformers, sort of Chucky Egg type things, and Twin Kingdom Valley, which was an early adventure game, text adventure game, which was fantastic.
I've never heard of this game.
And then, sorry,
I never heard of that game before.
Oh, no, it's. I think it's quite obscure, but it's really good. Well, I say it's really good. It was really good at the time, and it had graphics, which was this was how early it was. It had actual pictures on some of the scenes that took ages to load, like line by line.
Yes, yes.
But it was amazing, and it was it was like a text adventure, but it felt almost like an open world game as well, because you could roam around it, and you had sort of health points, and you picked up swords and things, and the NPCs in it moved around as well. Whoa. A little bit after that, the Hobbit text adventure came out, which took that a step further. So the NPCs in the game and the creatures actually like roamed around it in real time as you moved, which was like great for the time. But the one that really blew me away, I remember when I was young, we went on holiday to Devon. We used to go every year on holiday to Devon, and I met a kid there who said to me, he was telling me about this amazing game that he had, and he said it's amazing. He said it's basically you fly a starship, and it's all like the real world. It's all in 3D, and he said, and there's thousands of planets in it, and you can be a pirate and shoot people, or you can take things and trade them to different planets, and you just fly around, do what you like. And I remember thinking that cannot be real, like compared to the platformers and things that I've been playing, like Granny's Garden, which was an educational game in schools at the time. I remember thinking that's not a real thing that he's describing. It seems amazing. But he said, I'll send it to you. You give me your address, and when you get back home, I'll send it to you. And he did. He posted me because obviously they were on cassettes. Those days you could just tape it. You could just tape one cassette onto another. So he sent me a copied cassette with Elite on it, and it was the first Elite game. And I remember playing that and just being like, "Oh, it's true." He was telling the truth. And just being absolutely blown. And it was just like basic wireframe graphics, but you're flying. You can fly around a universe, and it's got an actual working economy within the game. You're trading things between planets. You started in a Cobra Mark II ship, I believe, and you could upgrade it with different things, dock at space stations and take on quests. And that was, I think it was a flawed game in many ways. The second one was I played more, was better, I think, when the second one came out. But for the time, the ambition of Elite, and it was the first time that I'd seen that a game could be something. It was more than just a toy. It was more than this kind of flat novelty on the screen. It could be something really immersive like that. So that was the first game I think that really just blew my mind.
Yeah. Was this on cassettes then? Like on like cassettes?
Yeah,
like
on a cassette.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Crazy.
From people I've spoken to before, I think in the UK we had more of a sort of like home computer scene. Straight after the BBC, my first real computer that I played a lot was the Spectrum. I had a Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and we had lots of quite cheap home computers in the UK. And I think I'm right in saying in the States you probably had more consoles.
Yeah.
You had like the early like Nintendo consoles and things, which didn't really take off here until quite a bit later.
Yeah.
But there was when I was growing up in the 80s, it was an indie scene essentially. There was a really punky sort of scene around the Spectrum and the Commodore, and the Amstrad, where people were just like making games, coding games in their bedrooms and things, and you could mail order all these weird games and all these kind of IP infringing games that people had just knocked out. And people were doing some, there were a lot of really, really weird ideas. A lot of very, very flawed games, but a lot of sort of risk taking as well. Lots of weird, wonderful games. I remember I used to love. What sort of games did I play? School Days and Saboteur, and there were just some really interesting things that people were doing and taking chances on, and it was just it was an amazing scene, and you could, and again it had that kind of sort of grungy filter where you just copy cassettes for each other and things. And we used to type it. Used to be able to get magazines with a game in them, but you had to type it in yourself. You typed in the code yourself, and they hardly ever work. Well, they hardly ever work for me because I would miss a comma somewhere or something. And then it wouldn't run, and I wouldn't know why. But it was it was wonderful, and you'd have to wait ages for the game to load off a cassette because it was sound. It was just and you would be like 20 minutes waiting for the cassette to load the game up. But I miss those days. I'm very nostalgic about that time and a lot of those games.
Yeah. Well, my friend had a Commodore, and it was a cassette player. That was the first gaming console, gaming type thing that I remember playing, except for a Pong. Like I had a Pong machine. Like that's actually the very first.
Oh
thing
right, yes, that would have been
We had but my friend had a Commodore, and it was tapes, and I remember we would often have to take pencils and like fix the tapes because they get all like the ribbon would get all twisted up, so we had to fix it, right? And he had like some kind of mountain climber game where you had to like face this like Yeti that came down the mountain. He had Zaxxon. Zaxxon was amazing. I loved
Zaxxon. I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. But on our side, I would say we did have we had consoles, but we did have a PC, and like it was crazy to think about like what my parents paid for their first PC compared to now, right? Like they paid $1,000 for a 286 that had no hard drive, and it had VGA graphics though. That was like the big thing. Oh, VGA versus CGA graphics, right? Like that was a big, and Super VGA like was amazing. But I remember like we would play a lot of disc games too. It was always like insert disc number 1, insert disc number, like little cassette, not cassettes, the floppy discs, the
floppies.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we moved on to the Amiga. It was like the next after Spectrums and Commodores.
I'll just share this quick story. But my friend and I, so like we didn't have there was the floppy disk, but there's also a lot of shareware or shovelware back in the day, back in the US when I grew up. And my friend and I, we were in 8th grade. We started our own video game company, and we made a lot of text type, graphic type games. Or it was like mine was like a lemonade stand. It was Lemonade Stand, I think that's the game was called, and it was just all text based, right? So you could like open up how many lemonade stands you can have, and then the more you had, the more things that could randomly happen to you, like events that would happen. But he made one that was a slot machine. It was the first time we tried graphics, and we put it on this shareware, like the site, and somebody downloaded the game from Texas, and we live in Wisconsin, so like very far away, and we're in 8th grade, right? So like I don't know, we're like 13 years old, right? And this guy from Texas calls. We had to put down a phone number for our company, so we put down his phone number, right? There's his mom's phone number, and he said, "Can I speak to Lewis?" And and his mom was like, "Lewis is 12. Like, I don't think you can talk to him. What do you need?" And she was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing?" We're like, "We're making games." And she's like, "Don't put down our personal information. Like, please stop that." That ended my career as a game developer.
No.
That was the end of the game development for me. But yeah, those are good times. For me, my first game here that I have is a game that this blew me away in regards to the storytelling and like what can happen in a game, and like just like the branching narratives, and like really got me the love for this series, and that's Castlevania 3. Castlevania 3 was so good. Trevor's my favorite Belmont because of this game. And then you have you have Dracula's son in it as well. It's so good. It's such a good game. It was such a great game, and yeah, I loved that game so much. So
Castlevania games are great. Yeah.
Castlevania
When was that released? The third one.
It's early probably later 80s.
Late 80s,
80, 88, maybe 89, something like that. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. Because I was about 14 when Castlevania 4 came out. That was for the Super Nintendo.
Right.
And Alucard is the name I was thinking of. Dracula's son is Alucard.
Alucard, yeah.
Which should be hard to remember. It's just Dracula backwards.
It's just the reverse, yeah.
So it was probably like 87 or so, I think. I'm guessing. I don't know. But it was just really like, it was on the NES, which, for that game to come out on the NES was just unbelievable. So, and that just grew my love for the Castlevania series. So I love Castlevania.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good pick. They blur a bit, I must admit, in my mind, which one was which. The first ones, but I used to love the Castlevania games.
Yeah, I love the second one too. A lot of people don't like the second one because it was like a side-scrolling adventure type game.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
and it didn't make much sense, like from a game perspective. But I had like do you remember Choose Your Own Adventure books? There was a Choose Your Own. There's one of Castlevania that you could. It was Castlevania 2, and so it gave you tips of how to play the game, and I just loved that. Like.
Right. Yeah, I used to love. Here we used to have Fighting Fantasy books.
Oh yeah, Fighting Fantasy books are so good.
And I used to love those.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day about some of the. I don't know if you ever Joe Deaver, who did the Lone Wolf books. He also did. He did some books which were in pairs, and one was called. The White Warlock and the Black Baron, or something like that. But they were paired game books, and you could play them with a friend, and they were visual. They were basically an early FPS. And so when you turn the page, you would see what you were looking at. So you would see like the corridor in this labyrinth.
Yeah.
But you would remember how it worked. Now you would say a code to the other player, and they would have like a checkbox. And if the other person says this number, they would turn to that page. And so it basically meant that if you were running across a corridor in front of your opponent, they would end up seeing you.
Oh my gosh!
Where you were running across the corridor, and then they could fire an arrow at you.
That's crazy.
Things like that, and you could lay traps for each other.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they're crazy. It's like playing an FPS.
Yeah.
Like Doom or something, but in book form. I'm pretty sure they're available. I think they're free now as PDFs.
Whoa.
I looked into it not so long ago. They're really expensive if you will try to get an original now. I don't know where my copies went, but they're free online as PDFs. So you couldn't play it very easily in that format. But they were so cool. I often think to myself, I wish there'd been a few more years before video games had come in and made game books a little bit. Well, they're not moot because there are still some great game books being produced, and they're still really fun. But it was just interesting to see what mechanics people were doing, were starting to do with books.
That's crazy. Yeah, I played a couple of them, not like that, but there was one that I really liked that was a space one where it had dice involved, and you had to like. It was just before like I had Dungeons and Dragons, right? So, but it was like. You'd have dice you could roll up. It was a Steve Jackson book. I just don't remember the name of the book.
Starship Traveler, I think, was the.
Yes. Yes,
the fourth one. Yes, yeah,
that was
that's a
so
great.
good. It was so good.
It's very good, isn't it? Yeah, they're brilliant.
Yeah, it was so, and you know, we would go to to our public library and just check those books out all the time. It was just, yeah, I agree. I feel like I wish that there was more of those and there are people that are still doing choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
books.
there are some really cool ones still being made.
Yeah, but
I used to read them with like all of my fingers stuck in different pages, so that I could turn back if I made the wrong choice.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Oh, brilliant. Cool. Well, what's the next game on your list?
So the next one on my list is Thief, the Dark Project, the first Thief game. I remember just for the atmosphere and the openness of it, the way it allowed. It wouldn't have been the first game that did this, but it was one of the first games I remember as really allowing different approaches. I loved when you have, I think it's the Bafford Manor or something. It's one of the first levels, and it just leaves you to get into the manor how you want to and complete the objectives and steal stuff along the way. And just the stealth mechanics that I sort of take for granted because they're in every open world game now, allows you some degree of stealth. But at the time, it's still in some ways the system that they had in Thief almost hasn't been bettered, especially where you could douse lamps. And you had to think about if you're walking on a carpet or if you're walking on a wooden or stone floor.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere of that game. It felt so perfect, you know. And the later Thief games were great as well. I love them all. But the first one, again, it was just the impact that I remember the first one had on me. Thinking, wow, this is a really cool experience you can create within a game. And it had some great kind of one of the levels, there were some levels that were under the ground and there were zombies, and I think they scared me more. They were more viscerally sort of scary, especially because if they saw you, that was it. It was over. You just have to run, really. So they felt more scary than I think any horror games that I've played since, you know. The first Thief game, I think that was one that had a big influence on me. I think that I still like a lot of those games, which could be at its heart, it was almost like a puzzle game as well, because you know you're strategizing, and the satisfaction you get from doing something that has come. It's not even that you've just figured out what the game wants you to do; it's that you've figured out a solution that works within the game's engine, and it just, you know, that's really satisfying. So I've been a big fan of like the later Thief games, and also Dishonored and things, all those kind of immersive sims. The Hitman games as well, I find are similar. It's that very satisfying kind of puzzling where you really feel, oh, I did that. You know. That was a big one for me.
Yeah, I love games where the solution isn't necessarily the solution that the developers thought of, right? That you can somehow figure it out yourself, or maybe the developers did think of it and be like, yeah, but we made you think that you figured it out on your own, right? Like, so brilliant.
I think a lot of the time it's that, you know, it's that they've kind of thought to themselves, well, players might choose to go this way, but at least if they give you the illusion of having,
and you feel really smart, right? Like, wow, I figured that out. And I mean, you did.
Oh, well done.
In a roundabout way, you did. I do love those games. I will say, like, I think as I got older, I think like the stealth mechanic stuff is like, I don't know if it's just like I'm not good at it anymore, or if I'm just like not as patient as I was as a kid. But nowadays, I'm just
that's the thing, actually, because I think in a lot of, like I say, it's in most open world games now, but I rarely play in a stealthy way anymore because I just don't feel I have the time for it. I just much prefer. After a while, I just shoot them. I'll just shoot them now. The alarms can go off. I don't really care.
Don't care. I'll handle it. I'll just deal with it. I don't have time for this. I gotta make supper here. I gotta, whatever,
exactly.
Right?
I'm crouching behind a bush for the last 4 minutes, and I don't think, this feels like a waste of my time. I'm a father. What am I doing? I do care. I can understand that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because some of those games I used to. Tenchu was a really good one.
Oh,
Do you remember
Tenchu was so good. Tenchu was so good.
That was a great game, and that was a lot of. That was a lot. 90% of that was just waiting and watching the guards' patterns. And thinking, okay, in a minute I'm going to go get him.
Yeah,
that was great, but it did take a lot of patience.
It took a lot of patience, and and it's funny because I love Tenchu, and
that was. In fact, maybe I should have put that. No, I'm going to stick with Thief. But,
I know, and I'm questioning should I put Tenchu, because Tenchu was what I wanted, like I liked Ninja Gaiden, but I really want, like, Tenchu was like that next level of like, oh, I feel like a real ninja here. I feel like
you did. It really made you feel, again, it's that sense of satisfaction. Like, okay, I did that. I broke into that castle.
Yes.
And killed all those guards.
Yes. Oh, that was such a good. But you're right. Like nowadays, I can't. I mean, I have played it somewhat recently, and I'm just like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to sit here and watch you. I'm just gonna go and hope for the best, and just it usually doesn't work out, but
I wing it. And also, I think a lot of modern games are a bit more forgiving of that. They like to put in the option to do either approach, which means that actually I will be okay. I can just charge in, and I'll probably get through it.
If I have enough health potions, I can probably get through this.
That's it. Yeah. Whereas some of those older ones, like Thief, you just couldn't. If you triggered all the guards, that was it.
It's game over.
There's nothing much you can do about that. You can only sword fight one or two at a time.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Well, my next game here on my list is a game that there's a couple of games that I almost got kicked out of college for playing because I played a lot of them. And one of them was Diablo. That's not on my list, but Diablo was one of the games that I almost got kicked out of college because I spent a lot of time playing Diablo. But this game I spent so much time playing. I skipped so many classes playing this game. And that's Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, right. Yes.
I loved the other Final Fantasy games, but 7, it was just so different, and just that was the first game I'm just like, whoa, this is such an amazing, and the storytelling was so good, and just the bosses were so good. I skipped so many classes. I don't know if I should even admit that, but if any of my college professors are listening, I'm sorry. I did skip a lot of your classes to play this game. So I did end up graduating from the university. It wasn't like I dropped out completely, but it was a game that I spent a lot of time on. So.
And it's worth it. It's a fantastic game, isn't it? It really is. I remember playing that an awful lot when it came out, and I'd not really been into those sort of JRPGs particularly. I remember I really liked Phantasy Star when I was younger, and one or two others. But it had not been. Again, I think it was also they weren't as huge here as I understand they were probably in the States. So I'd never really played an awful lot of those sort of games. But I really took to Final Fantasy VII. I remember just the way all the mechanics meshed and things, and I remember spending ages. I loved the bit the way you go to the big casino. There's a big casino or theme park type area. Yes. So many mini games and the chocobo racing and things.
Yes,
it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, and then there was. After the game, then you could go and take on the big monsters, right? And try to. Oh my gosh, there's just so much to do in that game.
So exactly, yeah.
So good. It was.
It just felt just so dense and so polished in every part.
Yeah,
really did.
Yeah, and it was the first game that I remember that a main character dies, a main real character. Yes. You're like, whoa, this is, and to me that was the first moment I'm like, this could be a movie, right? That's how good this is. So
yeah, that's right. No, I remember feeling that as well. The storytelling in it was really strong. It had moments in it that had real impact, and also the sort of impact that you could only get through a game, which I remember. I think it was really interesting about it because a lot of those moments were, the choices that you made.
Yeah.
Informed a lot of what happened and informed the connections that you made with the characters. So it felt like the sort of thing, it had impact in ways that you could only probably do with a video game. So it felt like it was just an all round an amazing use of the medium, to tell a story and to craft a really great game.
Yeah. It's probably the reason why they're doing a remake of it, right?
Yes, yeah. I would think, yeah. Is it out? Is it released?
I think the first 2 parts are out.
The first 2, but that's right. Yeah, it's not completed yet, is it? No, because I've not played any of it until the remake. But I should. I'm wary of it because I think it would be a time sink for me, and I just haven't got the time.
Same. Well, yeah, because I almost dropped out of college playing it the first time. Like I don't think I have the time. That's the second time.
That's the thing. And I'm like we were saying with stealth games. I just have to be careful. I just know I have to be a bit careful with my time nowadays. Things that I know I would like, but are going to suck hours and hours out of my day. I just have to steer clear of them if I can.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, what's the final game in this category for you?
So the final game for me was Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, such a good game.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah, and I love that. And that was at a period in I lived and worked in China for a few years.
Oh, I didn't know
and so
that.
When I was there, I taught English in like a very rural part of China in Hubei. The closest sort of city was still about 3 hours on a bus, but the closest city was Wuhan. Nobody used to know where that was. When I used to say to people I was near Wuhan, people would say I don't know where that is. But nowadays, everybody knows. Oh right, well okay, Wuhan, right? Yeah, we've heard of that. But so I was there for a few years, and I didn't play any games for about a year when I was there. This would have been about 2001, I think, when I went out there to start with. But it had been about a year, and I hadn't played any games. I had a PC, but wasn't very powerful. Didn't really play much on it. But anyway, I went and got somebody told me, in Wuhan, you can get a PlayStation 2 just come out, and you get a PlayStation 2. They were all chipped because they didn't in China. It would have been prohibitively expensive to have the original games. So I don't mind confessing that I had a chipped PlayStation 2. They were the only ones you could buy in Wuhan, and you used to be able to go to the copy market in Wuhan and pick up like really cheap copies of games. I don't imagine anybody's going to come after me now for American games when I was in China 20 years ago. But that was the only ones you could see. But it was very funny though, actually, because you used to go to the copy market, which was underground in this big area, like where they sold a lot of computers and things in Wuhan. And you go down there, and there were stalls everywhere with people selling these copied discs, PS2 discs. Technically they shouldn't have been, but I remember one day when I was down there and I was looking through the cases of all these discs, all of a sudden the man running the stall just snatched the disc out of my hands. I was like, what's going on? And all of the games went whoosh underneath the tables, and all that was left were like plastic carry cases, like CD wallets, things like that, as that was all they were selling all of a sudden. And then these police officers came through, just walked through, looking at all these stalls. Hundreds of people shopping there,
buying empty cases.
They were that popular, just like empty wallets. Hundreds of people in this market, and obviously they must have known what was going on. I think they would come through and just look and turn a blind eye and probably get their kickback or whatever, and then go off. But it was quite funny to think that look, we're just all here, hundreds of us buying plastic wallets. But anyway, sorry, I've gone off on a tangent there. One of the first games I remember playing when I was in when I did get this PlayStation 2 was I came back with a haul. I remember the excitement with a haul of CDs because they were really cheap. And one of the first ones I remember playing was Shadow of the Colossus, and I hadn't been playing any games. I hadn't really been aware what was going on in games development, game releases. I was teaching at the time at a college, and I remember playing Shadow of the Colossus and just being blown away by it, really. And I still think it's just such an amazing experience. And for me, it was a perfectly told story, perfectly told narrative. The mood was wonderful. The mechanics, the boss puzzles. I meant to say boss fights, but I said boss puzzles, which is actually kind of closer almost to how they play, because they are like quite intricate puzzles. Most of the bosses. were just so satisfying. And for me, I mean, even though, you know, I write for games, I don't like to read an awful lot in games. I like it to be. I don't like any. I like the story to be integrated as much as possible with what you're doing with the gameplay. And I felt Shadow of the Colossus, which doesn't have any dialogue or any text, it just told such a beautiful story and in such a great way. And just the sense of scale, the aesthetics of it, I just still think that's a game I just remember as being almost like a perfect gaming experience for me from start to finish. I just thought that's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I think that, to me, like, such an amazing storytelling, and like you said, there was no dialogue.
Yes. Yeah.
But what a story that told, and just and at the end you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, when you realize like what's going on, you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, such a good story. And that's another game that's been remade several times, right? Like,
yes it has. Yeah,
because it's so good. Yeah, that's a really good one. I will admit, like, some of the later boss fights, right? Like, I don't know. I have something with like big gigantic things like Colossus, and it just kind of freaks me out a little bit. I had trouble fighting some of them just because of like how enormous they were and how small and insignificant I felt. It kind of made me feel weird, like almost like, I don't know if I can do this, just because it was just so overwhelming. Just like, what an amazing experience, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know that's it's almost sort of vertiginous feeling of, you know, and it was just amazing they could capture that.
Yeah,
you know,
and on a PS2,
provoke that emotion, and on a PS2, exactly.
It's crazy. That's a good pick. Boy, like, now you're naming all these games, I'm like, that should have been on my list too. My last game is a game that another game that I almost got kicked out of college for, as I played a lot of it in college, and that is Dark Age of Camelot.
No, I haven't played that. I've heard good things about it. I've heard good things about that, but I haven't played it. No.
So it's an MMO. This is before World of Warcraft.
Right.
And the premise is that King Arthur died, and his kingdom was fractured into three separate kingdoms. And depending on where, you know, who you selected for your character, you would end up in one of those three kingdoms. And then it's player versus environment for the most part. You go on different quests and stuff like that. You can play with other people online. But then if you went to the borderlands between these two kingdoms, that's where you could fight people versus people. Like, it was cool. It was such an amazing concept. And then they would have like the borderlands like expand or contract based on like how much land you're taking from your opponents and stuff like that. It was such an amazing experience. And what made the game good was, I mean, there was like a really cool quests in that game, and there was fun moments in that game, but like playing with other people like made like the story really come to life, right? Like, there's many times where we went on this adventure, we went to go raid this, you know, the Elven Kingdom, and just like what happened in that during that raid was so amazing. But they did one thing in that game. It was it still exists. I shouldn't say it doesn't exist anymore, but this is towards the end of like the heyday of this game. And I remember I was riding my horse, and all these people are going to this city where like low level characters normally start off in, right? Like MMOs, there's always like an area with low level characters, and once you level to a certain point, you don't really go back to that area because there's no reason for you to. But I noticed just a bunch of people like riding the horses to this low level area, and I stopped somebody and said, "What's going on?" They said, "Oh, there's a giant attacking the city." Right. And the developers entered this giant that was basically a damage sponge, and everybody was just there, and you see this giant marching towards the city, you know, really slowly, and he's taking his club and he's just hitting, and the characters are going flying up, you know, and just waves and waves of characters trying to take him out, and he's not going to die because he's just got all this, you know, health. And I remember sitting there, because I was a healer, that was my character, and I was thinking, I'm going to heal the people, as it gets closer, I'll just, I'll throw out my heals. And as it got closer, it was just wrecking havoc against everybody. I was like, I'm out of here. I hopped on my horse and I took off riding. Like, this isn't worth it. We're not going to win this battle. It was such a cool moment, though. Like, what a cool concept, right? It was just something random event that they just included into the, like, hey, we're just going to throw this giant, just start storming this low level area. It was such a cool idea. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And those things, I think they don't kind of have as much impact on like players nowadays, where they, games like Fortnite sort of do that thing. But when those ideas were fresh and they first started doing that in games, the earlier days of sort of online gaming, where you would have those moments like that when it was like, wow,
what just happened here? Yeah. Oh, so good. I don't know. Often, were you into like MMOs at all? Were you into like that scene?
Not really. No, I wasn't actually. I had a lot of friends who played a lot of World of Warcraft and things. I think around that time, I think I would have been busy probably with other things. But and a lot of that would have been while I was in China still. So I didn't. Couldn't do it. But I played a lot of Counter-Strike. I remember in China and just before around that time.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my very online sort of gaming period. But I never really got into MMOs. Again, I think part of it also is knowing myself that I would dedicate like far too much time to them if I did.
Agreed. I mean, that's the reason why I can't. I mean, there's part of me that really wants to get into an MMO again, right? Like that, and start playing it again. But then the other part of me is like, you don't have time for this. Like, do you remember the time sink that you had when you were playing this? But there's always this part of me that wants to go back and capture that magic again, because that was just so fun. So
yeah, that's it. I remember the early days playing Counter-Strike as well. It was obviously a very different sort of game, but I used to put a lot of hours into. I was never very good. I was never a very good Counter-Strike player, but I loved it. I put hours and hours into playing that. Now I could still find my way around most Counter-Strike maps, I think, very easily. I tell you exactly where to go.
Oh, I love that. All right, well, let's go into our Ghost of Christmas Presents. So we're going to talk about our top 3 games from this past year. And again, I'll start with you. What's one of the games on your list for this past year?
So the first one I put down that I really liked this year was The Root Trees Are Dead, which was I don't know if you played that one.
I haven't.
It's a deduction game essentially. I remember playing I think there was a free version of it. It might have come from a Game Jam even or something a while ago. That they then expanded into a full game. And I played that earlier this year and just loved it. So it's a deduction game in the same sort of vein as, say, Return of the Obra Dinn or the Golden Idol games, which are awesome games as well. But it's just got a really, really lovely system for essentially it's a lot more involved than this, but you're looking into the deaths of these 3 root tree sisters. But what you need to do is basically what you're doing is you're looking through the whole family tree, and you have it all on a big sort of pegboard, and you're trying to find out the connections and fill in details about all the family and what happened to them, and sort of exploring the history of this family that reaches back 3 or 4 generations. And you can use a computer as well, like a 90s era sort of browser, so you can type in things there. And one of the mechanics is a little bit like Her Story, where you type in keywords and it will search publications to see if that word has come up in any of these magazines or newspapers, which is a mechanic I love, because again it's that idea of, it's a little bit like I was saying about Thief. It's that satisfaction you get from the fact that you haven't just picked one from a list of dialogue options. You've actually figured out yourself, oh, that's the word. That's a word that might get me some results here. That's an important thing. And so it's beautifully balanced though. So, and there are so many details you can fill in, all these different branches of the tree, that it's a really nice way of doing it, because you never feel stuck. You're not only working on the single next puzzle. You're looking at the whole thing, so you get a little bit stuck over here. You decide to go and explore over there instead, and something you turn up might then make you think, oh, that's relevant to something else I was looking at earlier. So it sucks you in, and it's beautifully presented, as I said, this kind of family tree that you're filling in details. It feels like you're always making progress. If you get, I can't remember, is it something like every time you fill in 5 people's kind of cards with a photograph of them and their details, so long as you've got 3 right, it fills in those 3. It's something like that anyway. So it's a slightly forgiving mechanic, but at least it lets you know when you have got things right. So you always feel like you're locking things in as well. And the other thing it does really well, I love games that, how to put this, that the thing you're doing is what you're doing in the game, if that makes sense. In most of the game, what you're doing is you're on a computer browser and you're looking at things, and you're in this quite cozy little room with the rain on the window. And so when you're playing the game, you feel you're there, because actually that is what you're doing. You are on a computer screen, and you've got a cup of tea next to you or something, and it's kind of it feels really cozy in a nice way. That you feel like you are solving this mystery. You're doing what the character in the game is doing. I get something like Papers, Please always was a good example of that as well. That you feel like you are sitting sitting at a desk.
That's right.
You're just like your character in the game is, kind of sifting through papers and stuff. So it gives you that immediate sort of immersion, because you won't get with other games, because obviously if you're playing a shooting game, you're not running around shooting at people when you play it. And it just so it's just a really lovely, immersive, satisfying experience. I thoroughly enjoyed that this year.
Nice. What was the name of the game again? What was it called?
The root trees. Which is the name of the family in the game. The root trees are dead.
Okay. I have to check that game out, because it's sounds like right up my alley.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it is. If you like those sort of games, it's a real a really polished, mechanically polished version of that sort of deduction mechanic. It just works really nicely.
Nice. Cool. My first game on my list is a game that when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to like this, but it looks really wacky and I want to try it. And then I started playing it and I was like, I don't know if this is the right game. Am I playing the wrong game? And then it opens up and you're like, oh, no, this is the game. And that is called Promise Mascot Agency.
I really want to play that. I haven't played it. It's on my wish list. I really want to play that. Yeah.
It is such a weird game. But a wholesome game. And it's a weird thing to say that, because like it doesn't seem like it should be a wholesome game, but it is.
No, yeah.
You are a family member of the Yakuza family, and that you basically dishonored this family, and that's the whole part of the beginning of the game. Not any fault of your own, but a botched job happened, and you lost all this money for this member of this family, and basically you have to now earn this money back, and the only way you can do that is by running this mascot agency.
Right.
And it's weird. The mascots are not like people in costumes. They're actual like pieces of tofu or a severed finger walking around. It's the weirdest game. But you send those mascots off to do like different jobs. And so there's like managing the mascots and the jobs they do, but you're not really involved with what they're doing. Like you can play cards to help them, but like they do the thing on their own. And then you drive around in this pickup truck and you find other mascots. It's a weird game, but it's so good. And what makes this wholesome is the fact that you have these mascots who like were given up on. Like people gave up on these mascots, and you are like giving them their like life back. Like
Right.
it's and your character is kind of like this tough character, but he has like the soft spot for these mascots who are kind of like misfits, almost like he is at this point, right, in his life. So it's such a interesting game. It's weird to call it a cozy game, but it is a cozy game. It's a weird game, but I like it a lot. It's really fun.
It sounds I'm definitely going to play it now. It sounds. When I looked at it, I thought that looks like my kind of thing. It's such a quirky premise, and it's really nice to hear what you're saying about it, because that makes it appeal even more to me. Because I think with something a bit weird like that, you always need some heart to it as well.
Yes.
To anchor it a little bit.
Yes.
So it sounds great.
Yes. So I highly recommend the game. It's a fantastic game. So
I'm definitely going to check it out.
What's the next game on your list?
So the next one on my list was Dispatch. Which,
this is a game that's on my list that I haven't played it yet, but it looks so good.
It's really good. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of, there've been lots of attempts over the years to make kind of like an interactive TV series almost, which I guess is one way of describing it. It's not, the game elements within it are, it's very linear, obviously. So that, your choices are limited, but it's got this mini game within it where, you're managing. It's going to sound a little bit like Promised Mascot Agency. You're managing this team of misfits, essentially, and you're sending them out on jobs. So in the mini game, you're like a handler for them. So you send them out on different calls. Your superhero team, who are all like ex-supervillains, and they're all like a nice quirky mix of characters, with like really, it's really well written. That's one of the first things to say about it. I think they've got really good characterization, really good dynamics between all of them. So you're sending them out to do different missions around the city, and then in between you're effectively watching for a lot of the time, watching the story. There are kind of quick time events in the game as well at times, so you've got to click or drag the mouse at points, and they do, I think, feed into the results you get as well. But it's relatively linear, so it's the amount of choices you get at the end of the game. There are a couple of different people you can kind of sack from the team or bring onto the team and things like that, and they'll change the flow of the story. And there are two kind of main sort of romantic subplots you could go down, one or the other. And there are, I'm not sure how many, but there are a few different endings. It does split a bit at the end of the game, and there are different endings you can get. But I think you go into it with the expectation. The only sort of complaints I've seen about it are some people you'll see on the sort of forums and things saying, really wanted to be able to romance that character as well, really wanted to be able to do this and this, why can't we do this and this? But a lot of that, I think, is players who probably don't quite understand the development process, that if you were to allow so many different pathways, well, you'd probably end up with 4 episodes instead of 8, because they've only got a finite amount of resources and development to do all that, and it's so polished. The art, the writing, the voices are so great that I know experience myself of writing for things like choice of games, and this is when it's just text. It can spiral away from you very quickly if you start letting players do whatever they want. And also, I think sometimes you don't necessarily get a good story out of it. If you let people take whatever route they want, the chances are, if they take a weird route, they'll get to the end of the game and say, well, that's not a very satisfying ending. And you'd be like, well, you can't always give a satisfying ending unless you steer players towards some kind of satisfying conclusion. But I thought Dispatch, if you go into it with realistic expectations of what they're able to do, I thought it handled it really well. It felt to me like I was making impactful choices, and the mini game is really, really fun. It really is. You kind of upgrade their stats and you send them to all these different things, so it and it doesn't sort of hold your hand too much. So it'll say, there's a fire over there, and we need to get people out the building quickly. And so you think, oh, hang on, which heroes have I got? Who's quick? Who might have a power that's good against fire? That kind of thing. And you're having to react in the moment because there's timers going down. So you're like, right, I'll send this hero, that hero. Where are they? They're not back at base yet. So it feels nice and sort of twitchy, the mini game. And they're talking to you through that. So the story is continuing through the course of the mini game as well. And it just felt really, it's just a really, really good experience for me. It's not one of those games I don't think that you would want to replay a huge amount. But for me, it's something that, like Shadow of the Colossus, when I played through it, I thought, wow, I don't regret a second of that. That was great.
Yeah. Oh, that is on my short list of games that I want to play. And I just haven't got a chance to get around to it. So, but that is definitely on my list. It looks so good. And I love superheroes, so I should be right up my list, right? So
Yeah, and it's fun, and they're a good mix, a good, yeah, as I say, good character design as well. I think what a lot of people would like. Well, I say what a lot of people would like. What I really mean to say is what I would like is for them to make the. I'd love to see the mini game have like an endless mode almost or something. Because the mini game in itself is so satisfying. I would have kept playing that after the story had finished.
Yeah, it's funny how many times that happens in a game. Where like I would just play this mini game right here, over and over again, right? That's awesome. Good pick. That is on my list. I'm gonna play that one for sure. My next game is a game that I put so many hours into this game and couldn't put it down for the longest time. I did finish it, and I still want to go back and play it because it's still fun. But that's Ball Pit.
Oh, right.
Have you played this one?
Now I played. I think the demo of this.
Okay.
I played a bit of it. I didn't immediately get into it, but I didn't give it enough time. I know, and I will go back and play further into it because I didn't play enough to quite click with the mechanics.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair thing to say because I think in the beginning of the game it feels really, it starts off really slow because like you go, so it's basically breakthrough or breakout or breakout, one of those games, and you have these balls and you're just bouncing off these enemies, and the first couple times you play you're like, I didn't make it very far at all, but once you start like getting in the rhythm of it and start leveling up your characters and building your city, because it's a city builder as well, and you can like level up your characters through building the cities, and like different buildings will give you different abilities. Also, you'll get this ability where you can have two characters at the same time throwing balls. It's so good. It's so good. And it just becomes mesmerizing almost because you're just like watching all this stuff and all this, the balls going all over the place. And you kind of feel like you're a master ball pit player. I don't know. It's but what an interesting concept to take a basic, simple like mechanic and then make it into like an RPG type gameplay. It's really good. I really liked it.
Great. It's a great idea. I love the concept, and I was just starting to see actually how some of the sort of synergies might work. Different balls that you got that were like there were spiked ones and ones that they had different effects, and I was just starting to see. Oh, okay, I can see. So I must devote a bit more time to it because I was just starting to figure out. Well, yeah, there's probably some interesting sort of builds that you can make here.
Yeah, that's the cool thing because you could take two balls and then combine them into like something new as well.
Right.
So like there's actually, even though I beat the game, there's still a couple ball combinations that I haven't unlocked just because I'm like, well, I always like this combination, so I'm going to continue to go with this combination because it works for me, right? But it's really fun. It's a really good game.
I must spend more time on that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Fair go. Yeah. Another one that was a bit like that, I think, was released this year was Star Vaders.
Star Vaders is so good.
It's good, isn't it? That's really good. I really enjoyed that because that's like obviously Space Invaders, but then they put the twist on it of having like kind of Slay the Spire or Fights in Tight Spaces type card system, shifting things around.
Yes,
and that's a lot of fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yes. I actually a couple of years ago I was at PAX and I met Eddie, the creator of the game. Yes. And then I got a chance to interview him as well and have him on the show.
Awesome! Yeah,
started out as a game jam. Actually, not a game jam. Maybe it was a game jam, but like a project that they had in school. And then they're like, let's continue with this. And it's I love the art in that game too. It's such a
it's brilliant, and it just it works. It works so well. It's one of those things that I remember thinking, will that work, or is that are you just forcing two genres together? I was skeptical at first. But it's got cards, but it works beautifully. It works. It's really satisfying. Great game.
And the different characters that you can unlock, right? Like the different like mech types, like
and they really do. It's like a different kind of game when you play. It's one of those things when you play as a different character. You've got to now. It's a whole different set of strategies you've got to use.
Yes. Oh, such a good game. Yeah. Wow. That was actually a game that should have been on my list here too. It did make our top games of that we reviewed this past year. So
did it? Good. Yeah, yes. Yeah. That's one that should have maybe been on my list as well. That's brilliant.
Well, what's the last game on your list?
The last game on my list is one that I think the most fun I've probably had this year was Seance at Blake Manor.
Okay.
Which I just loved.
I have not played it, but I heard good things.
It's really great. It's kind of it's a detective sort of game. So the setting is this manor in sort of rural Ireland, 19th century, I believe, or turn of the 20th century, and a séance that's going on, and somebody's gone missing, and you go there to investigate. But there's a beautiful eclectic cast of characters, and the whole thing aesthetically is just gorgeous. It reminds me of sort of Mike Mignola style with the light and shadows, and just perfect atmosphere, and you do feel like you're genuinely investigating. It's a bit more linear. It's not the open-ended investigation of, say, the root trees are dead, all that kind of game. It does lead you through it a bit more, but one clever trick it does is there's a time mechanic in it. So every action you do takes a minute or a couple of minutes or a number of minutes, and you're only there for the weekend, so the hours go past, and there are different events on at the manor over the weekend as well, so you can't see everything, and you can't ask everybody about everything. You would run through all the minutes, so it just forces you. It's not a really restrictive mechanic. It doesn't feel like, oh, you're under time pressure, but it just forces you to think about, okay, what is the right thing? Because you can ask the people in the game about any of the other people in the game, or any of the items you've got, or any of, one of the loads of different subjects. So you've just got, it just makes you think a bit more, okay, what might they know about? I'm not going to waste time asking them about every room in the house, or all of these things in my pocket. What's this? I'll have a response for everything, but it's going to be, most of it is going to be, oh, well, all right, that's your handkerchief, why are you showing me that? So it makes you think a little bit more, the time mechanic, right? What are the right things to be asking here? And it's just, and the story is great. I thought it was really well written, fantastic characters, great voice acting. It was one of those games where I just felt really sad when it ended, when I completed it, because I thought I could stay in that manor longer, solving those sort of mysteries. It's just a beautiful atmosphere.
Wow. I've heard really good things about this game. It's just one of those games that, again, I need to go play it. I just haven't had a chance to go play it yet, but it came out of nowhere. It felt like it was just like it was like right around Halloween, right? Wasn't it come out around Halloween?
It was, I think. Yes, yeah. It had been on my radar for a while, because I've met some of the developers before. They're lovely, and because they did the Dark Detective games.
Oh, really?
Spooky Doorway, who did it, and so I sort of knew them throughout, because Akupara, who published Dark Detective games too. So it was sort of on my radar for a while, and I was looking forward to it, but mostly because the art style I thought was phenomenal. But then when I started playing it, the story really captivated me as well, and the mechanics. It was just a really lovely experience. I'd say I think some people, there's a bit at the start, near the start, where all of the characters get introduced to you more or less at once, and there's about 18 of them. And all of the mechanics kind of get, and there's a lot going on in the mechanics in the screen, where you've got all different links between the information you're finding. And I think, and it could feel overwhelming at that moment. That would be my only advice to somebody playing it, would be just push past that moment, because then it opens up, and when you'll soon get to figure out who the different characters are, and then it's just really engrossing. It's fantastic.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I gotta play that game. Boy, my list of games that I need to play keeps getting bigger and bigger. So
tell me about it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good pick, though. My last game is a game that, if you listen to this podcast, you've heard me talk about this game before. This is probably the most powerful game I've played in a really long time, in regards to making me feel like I feel what the protagonist feels. And this game is called And Roger. Have you heard of this game at all?
No, I don't think I have.
It starts off. I don't want to give too much away, because you have to experience this game. Because if you go into this game blind, you'll get more out of this game, I think, right? It'll be like more impactful. But it starts off, it feels like it's going to be a scary game. Like, there's a really intense moment where you're trying to escape. You're a little girl, and you're trying to escape from this guy. And you don't know who this guy is. And you don't know what's happening, and you're trying to escape. And then I can't really talk much about it because I don't want to give it away because it'll spoil it. But it's really intense. But I will say it's not a scary game. Like if you're too afraid of like, oh, this is gonna be too intense for me, like get through that first part and you'll realize, oh, that's not what this game is about. It's about something else. But I will say the main character that you're playing, the things that they go through is like how they set up the game and how they set up the puzzles that you have to figure out are the same kind of frustrations that they would feel as the same things that you would feel as playing the game and try to figure out the puzzles. But it's not like frustrating, like I can't do this. It's just more frustrating. Like these are simple things I should be able to do. How come I can't do these things? It's such a good game though. Like, and at the end of the game, if you're not crying, like there's something wrong with you. Like it is such a powerful game. It is so, it's so good. It's it's about love. It's a real true love story. Oh, it's such a good story. It's such a good. And it's only an hour long. And it's maybe like $5. Like it's.
I hadn't heard of that. And Roger, just like
and Roger, yeah.
Right.
Every time I say the game, it's weird because it's my name, right? So like,
yeah.
But it's such a good. It is probably like one of the most powerful games that I've played in a really long time.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and it reviewed really well with us as well. So like it got a good review from us. So
I'm really intrigued now. I'll definitely be checking that one out.
Yeah, it's so good. All right, well that brings us to our final ghost of Christmas Future. So the games that were the scariest one. That's right.
Always the scariest one, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is. The scariest ghost is actually the to me I always thought was the Disney version of the Ghost of Christmas Future. I thought that ghost was really scary, even though like now as an adult he's not that scary, but he was pretty scary as a kid.
Still pretty scary though. Yeah. In the Muppets Christmas Carol, he's scary.
Oh,
I find him
Muppets
scary.
too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Not as scary. I mean, I don't know. Maybe just because like as a kid I didn't find him as scary, but my mom loved watching like the 1930s or 40s version of A Christmas Carol.
Oh, the old the Alistair Sim one.
Yes.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, I didn't find that ghost all that scary. Not as scary as the Muppets or Disney.
The Muppets one is worse. Yeah.
But these are the games we're most looking forward to. I'll start with you. What's your first game on your list that you're most looking forward to?
So the first game on my list is 007 First Light.
Oh yeah, Speaking of sneaking around games, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I'm really looking forward to that. Not because I'm a huge James Bond fan. I don't mind James Bond, but it's more because I am a big fan of the Hitman games. And usually I don't go in for sort of shooters a lot of things, but the Hitman games are not really like that. As we were discussing earlier with Thief and so on, it's the puzzly aspect more. So I'm really intrigued to see what they do with that. If they're obviously using a lot of similar systems to Hitman, I'm imagining it's going to be probably more linear, more kind of cinematic in a lot of ways, but still I'm really just interested to see what they're doing. James Bond just seems a really good fit for that kind of thing, espionage and spying, and you've got to change costumes and because I've played a lot of Hitman. I always play Hitman with, and I don't mean this is not a brag, but I play it with all the hints and things off, and that's not me saying I'm a really hardcore Hitman player, but I just because I'm not great at it and I will die a lot, but I just find it a much more immersive, a much more interesting experience like that when it's not telling you go here, lay this trap or talk to this person. They always feel like games that were almost designed to be played like that, and then they had like a focus group that said actually that's a lot of people just want a more casual experience. We're going to have to put more hints in, more hand holding in. But when you take the hand holding out, that you can listen to the conversations of NPCs and pick up all the details that you might need to know about where people are and where to go. And it just feels a lot more tense if you haven't got the Hitman sense of seeing people through walls. You'll die a lot more, and as I say, I'm not great at them. I would die a lot, but it just feels a lot more. I don't even have the saves on because I like it when if something goes wrong and then you have to panic and just start shooting people and thinking, right, how can I get away? Where can I hide? I love that sort of thing. But anyway, so I'm really looking forward to that.
It's interesting because I'm looking forward to it too. It'll be interesting though because I do feel like the difference between Hitman and James Bond is like I feel James Bond is more like if I have to go into a situation and guns blazing, I'll go into a situation guns blazing if I need
Yeah,
to, right? Like,
that's true. Yeah.
he doesn't like. There's many times where you watch, you're just like, how's he gonna get out of this? And he just pulls his gun, boom, 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 and you're like, okay,
I'm just gonna shoot everybody.
he just shot everybody. That was, pretty badass. It'll be interesting to see how they mix the stealth pieces, because Hitman, you're right, is a very stealth, figure things out kind of game. If they're gonna try to incorporate more of like the, if you want to just go in like being kind of like a badass type agent, you can as well. I don't know, it'll be an interesting thing.
Yeah, I'll be really interested, because the other thing as well is that James Bond, although James Bond is quite an anti-hero essentially, and he doesn't have a lot of moral compunction about things, but still he won't do some of it. Like in Hitman, if you want to, you can just garrote the staff at the hotel.
That's true. That's true.
To get your way to the room.
Wouldn't do that.
James Bond wouldn't do that. So
because he's an agent, he couldn't do that.
They're not going to let him just like knife receptionist in the back of things.
That's right. Yeah. Because I mean, being an agent of the government, I don't think he could do. I mean,
no. Yeah,
could.
Yeah, he's got a license to kill, but it's not presumably a license to just slaughter everybody in a hotel.
You have a license to kill, but not everybody. All right,
yeah,
just the bad. Just the bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but I needed to pass as a cook. But you didn't need to kill every other cook in the kitchen.
Listen, I was gonna just walk in and just be the cook, but then somebody saw me, so I had to kill that person, and another person saw me, so I had to kill. So that's why everybody died. Well, wait.
Yeah, because that is what happens a lot in Hitman. You end up with like 3 freezers full of bodies because they've all seen you doing something. You've had to kill them all. Yeah.
It's right when you're putting one body in the freezer. Oh, come on, really? You had to be here too.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't got anywhere left to put this one. Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see how they handle that.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll put like some kind of guardrails. It'll be interesting, yeah, for sure. Or if like you're fired from the government, like sorry, you can't be an agent anymore. Like you're a rogue agent,
they might. So. I suspect they might have a game over screen for that.
Probably.
License revoked.
License revoked. My first game on my list is a game that I played at PAX West. It's a Metroidvania type game, and it looks like a cartoon. It's so good. It's called Fallen Tier: The Ascension. In this game, you have a bunch of characters that you can collect. They're like, I don't want to say like Pokemon, but they're kind of like Pokemon in that way. They can collect these different characters, and then you can like throw them out to help you fight against bosses. And it's so good. Like one of the characters can freeze like an enemy, so then they freeze, and then you can do your attacks, and for only freezes for so long. But then you can throw out, I think, like 3 at a time. Like you can have there's a lot of different characters you can unlock, but you can like throw out 3 of these characters at the same time, and they do like all the special abilities, and it's so cool. It's such a cool concept, and the art is so good. It is really, really an amazing game. I'm really looking forward to this.
Fallen Tier.
Fallen Tier: The Ascension. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I know. I've not heard of that. That sounds cool.
I think it comes out. Well, when I talked to them, they said Q1 of next year. So
right.
We'll see.
Not long to wait then. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
The next one I chose is one, and full disclaimer, I've been consulting a little bit on this game and playtesting for them. So, but I'm not really involved in development, so I can't take any credit for the anything in the game. But I know the developer. So, and that's a game. It was announced at the Game Awards just the other day, called The Free Shepherd.
Oh yeah, that looks really good.
I think it's. And now I've said next year. I'm thinking actually it might be start of 2027. The roadmap for it. But let's pretend it's next year. If that's
I'll have you on next year, and we can say it again.
I could do it twice in a row. Yeah. But it's beautiful, and I can already say it's a wonderful game. It looks gorgeous, and in the game you play as a sheepdog, and you're herding sheep in this beautiful kind of Scandinavian or Orkney Island sort of inspired landscape, beautiful volcanic rocks and cliffs and sweeping meadows, and the sheep behave like sheep, and just the act of herding them is the most. It's relaxing, but it engages you as well. It's just, I don't know, it's so lovely, and just running around as a collie feels really joyous. He just and the animations are lovely. He just feels full of energy, and you just sprint around this landscape, barking, herding the sheep where you want them to go. And the game itself is going to involve a lot of sort of puzzles around that as well. Sure. But just already the core mechanic of the game is beautiful and really, really great fun to play. So that's one that I'm really excited to see. Play the final finished version of.
I saw that game, and it was funny because my first thought was a lot of the games that we're seeing were games I'm like, I don't think my kids can play that game, but this one I was like, oh, this game my kids can play, right? Like I know I think like Divinity was like somewhere around the same time when they shared the video of Divinity, and I'm like, no, my kids can't play this game. Like, it looks cool, but no. But this game, I was like, oh, this is like a really wholesome game. It looks really cute, and the physics look amazing on this game too. It looks really cool.
It's gorgeous, and as I said, the behavior of the sheep and things. You know, I showed it to my father, because he's an old, so he used to work on farms a lot. And I wouldn't normally show him any video game because he's not interested. But he loved that. He said, and he really liked it, and he loved the way that everything moved. He felt it, it was sort of realistic, and so it's a really good game, and it's good. It's just got a beautiful, emotional sort of atmosphere to it as well. It's lovely and and very wholesome, really, in its way. It's just a lovely game to play.
What does your father think of the Cryptmaster? Just curious. Does he know?
He quite liked it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
He liked it. I don't think he's played it particularly, but he's seen me doing the voice. It amused him. So he's very supportive. He's lovely, my dad. But he liked it. My mum liked it. She likes word games, so she played through it. Yeah,
that's funny. My next game on my list is called Orbitals. I don't know if you saw this at all.
No.
So this is a space co-op adventure game, but it looks like a Robotech anime style, like that old anime art style. It looks so good. It looks so good. And it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive as well. So
right. Okay.
But there's not much. I mean, we saw it at the Game Awards, and that's about it. Like, they just gave it a trailer. It looks like a space co-op game, but I think the thing that attracts me so much is just looks like old school anime, like Robotech or something like that. It looks so good. So
I love that.
I'm really looking forward to that one, and the fact that it's a Switch exclusive, like, that's kind of neat, right? So gives me a reason to have a Switch too, I guess.
Yeah, my son's got a Switch too, but he doesn't let me play it.
Oh, wow. I have a Switch too, and I don't let my kids play it. So
jealous, even though I bought it for him, he protects it quite jealously, so it's very hard for me to get to play anything on it. He's like, Dad, don't, you'll smudge the screen. I don't smudge the screen. I've been around 50 years without smudging screens.
Do you know why I played games longer than you have been alive? I know.
Do you know I have? Yeah. I won an IGF. I bring out the big guns.
That's right.
How dare you, sir?
You wouldn't have the Switch if it wasn't for me. What's the game on your list? Next game on your list? There.
Won't wash with him. The next game, the final game on my list. Well, I was torn between two. I was torn between Slay the Spire 2, which I'm really looking forward to, in March, I think, and Fable. So I went for Fable in the end because I loved the first Fable game whenever it came out, quite a while ago now, isn't it? So I'm really interested to see how they handle this one. It's
Do you think it's really going to come out this next year, though?
Well, I don't know. They've said it will, haven't they? But I think they've been saying that for a while, haven't they?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember seeing this. I feel like 2 years ago, we saw clips of it, and then nothing.
It seems to have. Yeah. I had to check before I put it on my list to see if it was coming out, and supposedly it is. It's still all fine and coming out next year, but as you say, it does seem to have been a long time without hearing much about it because it was quite a while ago. There was that first trailer, I remember.
Yeah. The trailer looked really good though.
It did look really good. I thought so. Yeah. And it's got it just. it looks like it matches the mood of the first game, which I always really enjoyed, and I loved that. I don't know, I really like the idea. I like the very broad sort of customization options in the first game, and it let you plot your own course and even age through your life and so on. So I hope they retain a lot of that, because that's what I thought that's what made the first one feel quite special to me.
Yeah. Well, it felt like, you know, your choices made impact, right? Like, and that's
it
what
did. It did very much. Game. It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And you felt like by the end of it, you had a story for your character, and he'd evolved in a certain way. I modelled my character around Macho Man Randy Savage. I can't remember why I did that, but he looked quite close. But by the end of his life, he had lovely silver hair, and he used a big broad, and he was and he was great, and I was very fond of him. And I did feel like that's a character I don't think anybody else had.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody else in the history of Fable has ever created Randy Macho Man Savage.
No, that's it. As a character, yeah. And yeah. I do that with most games if I can.
You make Randy Macho Man Savage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That's I love that. No, I'm looking forward to. I hope that comes out this year, because that is like another game that
so I was going to say. I think Slay the Spire 2 is probably a more realistic choice, but I am still excited for Fable when it comes out.
Yeah, me too. My final choice here my final game is called The Secret of Weepstone, and I think that you would love this game. Have you seen anything about this game?
Yes, that's the one that I know about it because I must confess I do Google Cryptmaster to see if anybody's talking about our game.
Yeah.
And so I discovered this because people were making comparisons with the art style, because they're obviously pulling from similar influences to us. From that kind of, ink illustration style, old D&D manuals and things. They've got a beautiful monochrome, sketchy look, as I say, obviously inspired, I would imagine, by the same sort of source material that we were. And it looks really good, doesn't it? It does look exactly my sort of thing. So I'm excited for that as well. Yeah.
I got to play this at PAX, and yes, this game is very much like a D&D adventure. And they got artists that, like, from the old D&D books, like when we were kids, they got artists to do the same art in this game. So and what's maybe I shouldn't. I'll tell you offline, because I'm not sure if this is public or not. So they told me something. Maybe I shouldn't mention it because it may not be public. But the cool thing is, I will say, when you open up the game and you open up the map, you open up the book. Like, it's like you're opening up the book, and there's like the grid paper. Like when we were kids, you draw out like the maps and the grid paper.
I saw something in the trailer of that, I think, and it does look really, they've done it really well. They've captured that aesthetic really nicely. Yeah.
And it feels like, really like, it feels like a D&D adventure. It's such a good game. So I'm really looking forward to that game.
That's awesome. I that one had slipped my memory, because I'm excited for that one as well. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I think that was the end of that section. Before we head out, I want to know, is there anything that you're currently working on? Is there anything that you can share with us you might be looking forward to?
We're working on the next game at the moment, which is not going to be a sequel to Cryptmaster, but it's hopefully going to build on a lot of the things that we felt worked well in Cryptmaster. So it's a game set. It's a kind of I've not really managed to refine my elevator pitch yet, but the simplest way to explain it would be, I guess it's like a sorcerer's tower simulation. So you play a kind of sorcerer in a room atop this ancient tower, and the whole game is based within this tower. So it's going to be kind of cozy in some ways, because you can customize the tower as you like it and that kind of thing. But from the tower, you can see the surrounding world as well, and the world will change dynamically as your decisions affect things within the world. And it's going to be it's going to have a sort of economy simulation in it. So a lot of what you'll be doing is crafting spells amulets, potions, and things. Paul has been doing some fantastic work on making like a working forge, and so you can pour molten metal into molds and craft rings and amulets and things, and then you can imbue them with different magics. And there'll be books and scrolls and things that you can investigate for puzzles as well. I'm going a bit nuts on things on that side of it. We've got sort of invented languages in there and all sorts, so there'll be lots of things you can do, but it'll also hopefully be quite sort of, as I say, almost cozy within this tower, because we've got a small environment. Paul's already been doing lots of work on things that you wouldn't normally have in an indie game, like, you know, the weather, the wind will blow out candles that you put on the windowsill, and the rain will come in and you sweep cobwebs that will grow in the walls. So it's quite immersive within the small environment. And what I want to do really is, as well as one of the things that I felt worked well in Cryptmaster, and sort of one of our strengths, I think, is that I think what worked well in Cryptmaster was there was a mood of sort of intimacy almost with the player, and the way the player responded to the NPCs and the Cryptmaster in particular was something that was very satisfying for me to watch. And I thought we managed that, so let's try and build. And so what I'm almost envisaging, I would like it to be almost like a sort of, it's going to be like an interactive sitcom almost. So within the tower, there's this little ancient imp who's your servant, and he's really cantankerous, and a little bit, he's like the Cryptmaster essentially, but he's really sort of cantankerous, and although he in theory is your servant, he's quite sort of passive aggressive, and so if you hang a picture up and he doesn't like it, he'll grumble about it, and when you're not looking, he might even take it and move it somewhere, so you'll have to hang it back up. And we're working on lots of things, which we've got lots of little funny things that make it, it's be like a little, almost like a sort of odd couple situation to force the player into. You're forcing them to share their tower with this little grumpy imp that's just floating. He flaps around on little wings. We've got him in the game now. He's great, and he's got full physics on him. So when things go wrong, and because you can make mistakes, so the potion will blow up or whatever, and he'll have to flap around and try and put things out, or his wings will get set on fire and stuff like that. He's, again, because it's a small environment, a few characters, we're trying to make him really, really dynamic. So like the Cryptmaster, but even more so. So he'll react to more things, respond to more things. You can really tailor your relationship with him according to how you deal with him and what you say to him and so on. But essentially, it'll be quite. It's like almost like like a buddy comedy or like I say, an odd couple type thing is how I'm seeing it. Yeah. And then you'll have other people who visit the tower, and the way I'm sort of picturing them is almost like sort of in a classic sort of US sitcom where, you know, there's a knock on the door and it's whoever, it's the guest star returning who comes every week or every couple of weeks, and so the kind of visitors to the tower will be a little bit like that. They're the ones that give you the quests and stuff. But
oh my gosh,
I really want to try and make it almost like a little social simulation as well, if you see what I mean. So it feels, hopefully, because the moments that I most liked in Cryptmaster, watching people play the game, were the bits where we set people up for a joke almost. So where there's a bit where a character, I don't know if you remember, where Ratty tells you to say something to the eye door, and when you say it, he's tricked you, it's purposely the wrong thing, and then he laughs at it, that sort of thing. And players seem to really enjoy that, and I like writing those sort of things as well. So I want to do sort of more of that, where I set up jokes but include the player in the joke, if you see what I mean. So you include the player in the comedy of it. So that's what we're working on at the moment anyway, and it's all a lot of it's a bit nebulous still, some of the mechanics, but we're really enthused about it, so that's watch this space, as they say.
That sounds fun. Well, how can people follow you on social media so that they can keep up with all the things you're doing?
I'm on I use Blue Sky really mostly now, and I'm Williams, which is like WIWYUMS, which is how phonetically people where I live say my surname. And the Cryptmaster is there as well, just the Cryptmaster on Blue Sky, and Paul and I are not very good at marketing ourselves, so we've already decided the Cryptmaster will probably, even though he's we don't think he's in the next game, he'll probably handle the marketing for the next game. Because I much prefer that he does it rather than we do it.
Do you? Who runs the? May I ask? Is that? Can I ask that question? Who runs?
You can ask that. It's me. Yeah,
it is you. Okay. So do you find it funny when I interact with the Cryptmaster? Like
when you interact with the Cryptmaster, you're just it's just me lying to you. Basically, it's still me. Yeah, but I find it because, as I say, I'm not very good at sort of self promotion, but as the Cryptmaster, I can do it. So he's just like a mask that I can put on, and it's lovely. Then I can boast and brag and try and sell people things, and I don't have any shame as the Cryptmaster.
It's funny because sometimes I'll interact with the Cryptmaster and I'll ask questions like, what exactly is the Cryptmaster? What are you?
He's cagey on that still.
Oh, well, Lee, thank you so much for joining me in this holiday episode. I would like, if you are so inclined, I would love to make this an annual thing where we can do this.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah?
I would love that. Oh, I'd absolutely love that. Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
good.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
I love having you on the show, and I love chatting with you, and just, I don't know, we have a good time. So you know.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's really great to come back on the show and to chat with you again. It's been fantastic.
Thank you. Listeners, if you like what you hear, leave us a review. We want to hear what you have to say about the show. Until next week, everyone, stay safe and game on. Bye.